Alright, the unit circle is currently blank, and I'm about to show you a technique that I found years ago to easily memorize the entire thing. Let's start with the radian values. Usually these numbers go on the inside, but we don't have much space, so I'm going to put them on the outside. Okay, so do you think you can memorize these two numbers? Because if you can memorize these two numbers, you can figure out the entire radians of the unit circle. So this number, this value of radians right here, this is pi over 6. Now watch this. Move from here to this one. Jump. This is 2 pi over 6. It goes up by 1 pi over 6. Now watch this. Jump again. Guess what? This is 3 pi over 6. I know you may wonder why this number doesn't equal the number on the usual unit circle you see. That's because the usual unit circle has simplified it. Go here. Guess what this one is? Yep. Goes up by plus pi over 6. Okay, skip this one. Keep moving around. Guess what? 5 pi over 6. So basically, if you can count from 1 to 11, which I hope you can do, you can memorize all of the radian values. The ones I'm skipping right here, I'm going to show you that later. Okay, let's continue. This one right here is 6 pi over 6. Also the same as 1 pi. 6 pi over 6. And now if we move here, it's going to get us back to where we started. This is 12 pi over 6. That's the same as 2 pi. And then go back and simplify the fractions. And if you simplify all these fractions, you'll get the radian values of the unit circle that you're used to. Now let's go back and fill in the ones that we skipped. So right here, this one is pi over 4. So this is pi over 4. Now this one, instead of counting by 1, we're going to go up by 2. So this is 1 pi over 4. So 1 plus 2 is 3. This is going to be 3 pi over 4. Now move on to the next one we missed. This, so we count by 2 again. So 1, 3, this is going to be 5. So 5 pi over 4. And then here, go up by 2. So this is going to be 7 pi over 4. And now, if you simplify all this stuff, you're going to get the radian values that you're used to. So that's it. That's the entire unit circle radian values. And we only needed to memorize 2 numbers and 2 locations. That's it. Alright, now let's do the points of the unit circle. We're going to start with what I call the common sense points. That's going to be this point, this point, this point, and this point. Common sense points. So the unit circle has a radius of 1. That's why it's called the unit circle, because unit means 1. So this line right here, this is 1 unit long. And notice how, since this is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis, if this is 1 unit long and it doesn't go up or down at all, this point has to be 1, 0, because it's 1 long in the x direction and 0 long in the y direction. So that's 1, 0. The opposite way is going to have to be -1, 0. Now up here, this line, no movement in the x direction, so that would be 0, and it goes up 1 unit. Like this is 1, it goes up 1 unit, so 1 up here. Now the other direction would just be the opposite of that. It would be 0, -1. Alright, the rest of the points. This is like 10 times easier than it looks, so just follow along and watch. Alright, let's start with this point. There's only 3 points, any point besides common sense points can be, so these 12. They can either be one of these, and we're going to add the signs later, And I've read a few hints that I use. I use these all the time. Like in my head, I'll say these to help me remember what goes where. So it's starting with this point right here. Let's look at this hint. If it's close to the y-axis, it starts as the 1/2. Okay, so that's not close to the y-axis, and it's not the middle, so it's not going to be root 2 over 2. So it must be this one. So add the signs later. So this is positive x, positive y, so it's going to be positive, no negative signs. All right, let's keep moving on. This point. So let's see, middle, always root 2 over 2. So since this is the middle point, notice how we have these points, this point, this point. This is like in the middle of these 2 points. This is what I call the middle point. Okay, so middle is always root 2 over 2. So that means that is going to be that. If it's close to the y-axis, it starts as the 1/2. Okay, so this is this one right here. This is close to the y-axis. So it starts as the 1/2. So the only one that starts as the 1/2 is going to be this one. So that's what it is. Notice how instead of memorizing 12 points, we can just look at these guidelines I've set up. We can figure all of them out pretty easily. So let's continue. If it's close to the y-axis, starts as the 1/2. Okay. So this starts as the 1/2. So let's see. So this point, this is close to the y-axis, right? Close to the y-axis. This point is also close to the y-axis. Okay. And this point is also close to the y-axis. Now, add the signs later. Let's add the signs to these. So this section, negative x direction, negative x, positive y. So that just means this will be negative. This one, this section. Negative x and negative y, they're both going to be negative. This section, positive x, negative y. This is going to be negative. Okay, the rest of the points. Middle, always root 2 over 2. All the middle points will be root 2 over 2, so that's going to be that one. It's going to be this one. And it's going to be this one. And we add the signs later. Signs will be the same as the last time. Negative x here. Negative x and negative y. Positive x, negative y. Now with the only point left. So this is going to be root 3 over 2 1/2. This one will be root 3 over 2 1/2. Now we know that this one is root 3 over 2 1/2. So if it's not a middle point and if it's not close to the y-axis, it's going to be root 3 over 2 1/2. And now, like I said, we add the signs in the end. So negative x, positive y right here. Negative x, negative y. Negative y, positive x. And that's it. That's the unit circle. That's all the points. 3 options. We add the signs later. We use these 2 hints, literally 2 hints. You have to memorize 2 things.